Good evening, good evening. This is Spirit Journey, and it's after 10 p.m., and I'm just relaxing here. This video is more commentary about the movie Black Panther that I saw about 2 days ago. I actually have a headache right here on both sides. I feel I'm depressed. I'm really actually depressed. And why am I depressed? I see that nothing really changed with regard to Black America and how Blacks are depicted. And I'm angry inside. And part of me is angry, I would say, I'm angry at myself because I wanted to believe that the movie was going to be different. But I saw some of the previews, and and again, this is my second my second video regarding the movie Black Panther. But I wanted to give it a chance. And I saw that a lot of people were watching it. And I said, I want to watch it, so I know what other people are being introduced to, and hey, maybe give it a chance. And my instincts regarding the movie was correct, in my opinion. It was the same old, same old. I know I want to say a lot of things, and I'm just winging it. I don't have um, any notes before me, and so I hope to get out. I want to talk from the heart and not from a script. I'm angry because I feel the movie is dangerous to, in particular, Black Americans. It's teaching people all over the world that not to have compassion to American Blacks' plight. It didn't give a history about one of the characters in the movie who was left in the United States. His father gets murdered, but they don't. Most people don't know what it's like in Oakland, California. That's actually the birthplace of the organization, the Black Panther movement. And so to have this character die in the movie, it's really subliminally saying that we're killing the heartbeat of that movement, and it's pacifying Black people, and it's showing the at least movie-wise, that the character, the one that played the king, what was his name? I forget his name. T'Challa. That they show him kind of passive. They showed him. I mean, he's supposed to be a king, but he didn't have that tenacity of a king. He reminded me of an African man who's been around too many Europeans, and that he might think of himself being an equal to them, and he's confident in his country's wealth, but he doesn't really realize who his real enemy is. That CIA operative. He is their enemy. And I don't understand in the movie, in the beginning, how why the guy who dies, the uncle dies, why he was in America, why he, he had, I think he wanted to liberate the American blacks there of that town. But I mean, why he initially went there, what made him become aware of this particular group, that I didn't understand fully. And why the other people of his country that came to investigate, why they were so against him. It was showing, I felt, black on black violence. It was telling me that blacks don't seem to know who their real enemy is. They think it's each other. And again, you have a CIA operative who is somehow involved in this nation's affair, and he gets privy to the affairs of this country, this African country, and he's giving more reverence. This foreigner, he's a foreigner by race and place of birth, everything. But yet they have him in a very sacred place and show all their wealth. And as I mentioned in my first video, that to have someone that you don't really know and to an intimacy without really knowing, does this guy deserve to be shown this intimacy? And they trusted him. And he was even, this guy, this CIA operative, had even gotten hands-on with his plane. That they have this guy in a plane. He doesn't know how to use it, but the ladies I'll walk you through it. And they don't realize that this man could actually bomb all of them. Both African groups both groups that were fighting at the end of the movie. They don't seem to realize that. He could have just had to take the opportunity to zap them out. Both groups. And to just show their intersanctuary, so it seemed like it's showing that the African is foolish and trusting, and seemed like he was to be, the king was like an intellectual, nothing wrong being an intellectual, but really showing him like he doesn't seem to know what's going on. He has this false sense of security that because he's a wealthy nation, how he keeps his wealth. I mean, he has the technology, but having technology, what brings in the income? What brings in that finance, that money to support it? But it showed that the guy that was left in America, he was a native. He was a native of their country, and yet he's being treated as a bastard child. I just want to check something on the screen. Okay, yes, sometimes the light turns green and red, so I hope this is really recording. Okay. But yeah, they treated their own like they said you're not our own or something. You're a foreigner, and he was native. He even proved he was one of them. But that wasn't enough. When he took the challenge to take the kingship, he followed the rules, and he was winning. And one of the people there interrupted because they didn't want to see the first guy killed. it's like, wait a minute. And when he does win, the people that were in leadership said that we're not going to submit to him, in a nutshell. The other thing, I thought it was racist. You might wonder, well, how could a movie be racist if most of the characters are black people? Well, it's throughout the whole movie. Um, they depict the men as weak and the women as the real warriors. That they both could have been, you know, people of strength and show the attributes of male and females working together to fight the enemy, but they didn't seem to know who the real enemy was. They were fighting them amongst themselves. Um, they had, let's see, yeah, I didn't like how they portrayed. So, I mean, some of the women were really nice. They looked like women. They dressed like women. They're intelligent, but I thought it was a mess. They were mannish, some of the women there, and that the women had to protect a king. So he wasn't man enough to protect his women, but the women got to protect him. So I thought that was bias, depicting black women as being the man of the nation and not the men themselves. So it was a disrespect, I felt, based on race. And then remember in the movie they had a part with they they were to show improve their nationality, and they took their bottom lip and pulled it down. Some years back, it was white people would say, some white people would say, how could you tell if someone's really black or not? You know, and they would say, oh, you just look at their gums, and if they have a black gums or dark gums, then they're black people. Okay, isn't that movie hinting on that premise? How do you tell a black person? By pulling the bottom lip or the upper lip and to show their gums. And they might argue, oh, well, they weren't trying to show their gums, but the inner lip. Well, they're still showing their gums. It was a sneaky way. You know, they could have had the marking, let's say, under their arm or something like that, or behind the ear, somewhere that's not as, because that's kind of hidden, but you could show. But they showed the bottom. So I thought it was mocking black people. Hey, how could you tell us such and so? Oh, you just look at the gums, and that's part of a racial, um, a bias. I thought. Sure, some people may have melanation in the gums, and some don't. Not all of us. Um, so I thought it was a biggie. I'm looking at the remark now. Okay, yeah, I thought it was a comment, but I thought, my goodness, this is really something else. Um, what else? A lot of things. The movie also reminded me, like, we need to come together. Blacks, whether they live in the United States or other parts of the Americas or continental Africa, you know, because even though you may not be like in the case of the movie, they portrayed the one of the characters as Warmonger. That's his name. He was actually of that African nation, but he was raised in the United States. But it showed a hatred towards him. They didn't respect him. They didn't respect when he won the kingship. They displayed him as a crazy black American, those angry black people in America. That's what it's really teaching people. People all over the world. And teaching black people all over the world, and anyone who sees it, that you can't give black Americans kingship or leadership roles because they're irrational, and let's kill him at the end. And that's why he dies. And the the other guy, T'Changa, I think his name, I forget his name, but the one that was supposed to be the good guy, the Black Panther, he he just doesn't seem to be connected with what's going on around him. He should have known about the history of the U.S., especially with the CIA, because it's a nation. If it's doing that well, what makes a nation strong is the resources, yes, and its relationship to its neighbors and in exchange. You don't live in a nation by yourself. You have relations with other groups, which strengthens you, and you strengthen each other. But he just doesn't see. He seems naive, and wow, he, the whole wealth that they weren't willing to. They didn't think that the cause of the Americans to be something worth protecting. And again, the American is the one that dies. The